It is 4:00. Please stand to sing O Canada. Please be seated. We'll begin with the roll call.
Mayor Susan Patterson,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Warren Dickert,
Present.
Councillor Harold Fleet,
Present.
Councillor Dave Hawking,
Present.
Councillor Carol Hudson,
Present.
Councillor Brandon Cable,
Present.
Councillor Susan Sackle.
Present.
Thank you. All members are accounted for. The land acknowledgement. As we work toward reconciliation with Indigenous people, we begin our meeting today by respectfully acknowledging that we are situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. And further, give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. So welcome to our regular council meeting for Monday, January 12th, 2026. Good afternoon, council, staff, guests, the viewing public, and the media. Council, does anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest or a conflict of interest? Seeing none, I will just remind you that if one does arise during the meeting, you may declare it then. Item 5 is agenda additions or deletions, and with the clerk's approval, I'm going to change one item on the order of the agenda, and that is to move item 14, correspondence requiring action, ahead of the bylaws. So now we're on to our health and safety message, and I just want to share that this message demonstrates the town's commitment to safety to staff and our residents. It is intended to raise awareness of potential risks, promote safe practices, and help prevent injuries, illnesses, and fatalities. Our message is brought to us by Deputy Mayor Dickert. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. Our health and safety message tonight is about the color-coded weather alerts that we now use. So it is Canada uses a color-coded system to show the severity of weather alerts. Colors help you quickly understand risk and urgency, and you should always read the full alert for details. The alert colors are yellow, which means to be aware, potentially hazardous weather, minor or local impacts, and you should try and stay informed and be prepared. Orange is be prepared, dangerous weather is expected, significant impacts possible, take precautions and adjust your plans. Red is required to take action, extremely dangerous or life-threatening weather, severe and widespread impacts, follow emergency instructions immediately. And why does this matter? It helps you react faster to changing weather, reduces risk to health, safety, and property. And some key safety tips are check alerts regularly, prepare emergency supplies in advance, and never ignore orange or red alerts.
Very good, thank you. Item 7 on the agenda is delegations, and we do not have any this afternoon, so we'll move right on to council minutes. 8.1 is the regular council meeting minutes from December 15th. I need a mover and seconder before they're highlighted. Councillor Sackle and Councillor Hudson. A few highlights. We did have 2 delegations, Westario Power. We approved the sale of our Westario Power shares. We also had a Hanover Police Station project update from Plus VG Architects. And we approved the annual, wait till I get to it, the annual liability and property insurance renewal for 2026. And last but not least, Council approved a bylaw to execute the boundary agreement adjustment with the municipality of West Grey to provide for the adjustment of the municipal boundary between the corporation of the municipality of West Grey and the corporation of the town of Hanover. Any comments, questions, discussion? None in the chambers and none online. I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Yes. Okay, so thank you, Councillor Fleet and Councillor Hawking and Councillor Cable, if you're able, can you use your virtual hand icon when we're voting? Otherwise, I'm going to have to ask you directly so we ensure we have the vote approved. Thank you, Councillor Fleet. Item 9 is business arising from minutes, and we do not have any. Item 10 is the consent agenda, and I will ask if there are any items in the consent agenda that you would wish to discuss separately. Councillor Hudson?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just wondering if we can pull the Family Day report just to advise the viewing public what we have upcoming.
Okay. Any other? So I need a mover and seconder for the consent agenda, and this is the recommended motion that the items listed on the consent agenda be received for information and that any recommendations contained therein be hereby approved. Moved by Deputy Mayor Dickert and online Councillor Fleet. Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So then we'll take item 10.1 from the consent agenda. This is report PRC 0126. The subject is the Family Day, which is going to be held on Monday, February 16th. And it's been prepared by Laura Kristen, Director of Parks, Recreation and Culture. And I'll take it, Councillor Hudson, you will move it. And seconded by Deputy Mayor Dickert. And I will ask our CAO to highlight that report.
Thank you. So our residents can look forward to another great family day of activity, and I would encourage you to watch our website as well as our social media for the launch of the promotions with respect to this date. So the Family Day this year is on Monday, February 16th. It is all at the P&H Center, and you will see activities such as a free swim and a free skate at various times throughout the day, sponsored by Edgewell. Our camp staff are going to be hosting an outdoor fire pit and hot chocolate area as a fundraiser for the kids' camp. There will be a snow globe photo opportunity sponsored by H&R Block, as well as balloon twisting sponsored by H&R Block, and then temporary tattoos sponsored by The Match. Those times for those activities specifically take place between approximately 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. And also during that time is a craft corner sponsored by, or hosted, I should say, by Hanover Public Library. Hanover Council will host their family style bingo between 1 and 2 p.m. And then then a new addition to the Family Day program is the Barons and Walkerton Capitals, the Junior C teams. Their Hockey for Hospice game will take place between 2:30 and 5 with the ticket sales and proceeds. And I believe there's going to be an auction as well to support Saugeen Hospice. I'd be happy to answer questions that council may have or get those answers if I'm not able to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? A fun-filled day? And I don't see any online, so I will call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Online, just watching. That is carried. All right, item 11 is staff reports requiring action. The first one, 11.1, this is report ED 0126. The subject is Team Gray Memorandum of Understanding. It's from April Marshall, our Economic Development Manager, and I'll ask for a mover and seconder before April highlights the report. And I will ask Councillor Hawking, are you okay to move that? Okay, and Councillor Fleet seconds. April?
Thank you, Your Worship. So the Team Gray Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, is intended to formalize the collaborative work already underway between Grey County and its member municipalities in the areas of economic development and investment readiness. It establishes shared framework that clarifies roles, responsibilities, and expectations, and it focuses on two key priorities from the county's Economic Development, Tourism, and Culture Master Plan: leadership and collaboration, and investment readiness. These priorities align closely with Hanover's own strategic direction and long-term goals as provided in the background of this report. So over the past 2 years, Hanover has strengthened its partnership with Grey County through several significant initiatives. These include advancing business development opportunities at the Saugeen Municipal Airport, supporting expansion and attraction efforts within our entertainment district, and working jointly on the proposed boundary adjustment with West Grey. These projects have demonstrated the value of coordinated regional action, and the MOU builds on that momentum by providing a consistent, transferable framework that will support continuity, or even as staff or elected officials change over time. A major benefit of the MOU is the opportunity to leverage shared tools, shared expertise, and shared resources. The county will continue to lead regional data collection and analysis, develop shared templates and investment readiness tools, and maintain a centralized inventory of marketable employment lands. This reduces the need for each municipality to independently develop specialized tools or hire specialized staff. It also ensures that when investors or site selectors approach the region, they receive consistent, high-quality information regardless of which municipality they contact first. Cost sharing is another practical advantage. While specific projects will be determined annually, the types of initiatives that could be jointly funded include shared data platforms such as Environics, which we are already contributing to, regional marketing campaigns, sector-specific studies, investment readiness templates, consulting services like Think Compass, and joint grant applications. These shared efforts help reduce duplication, stretch local budgets, and allow municipalities like Hanover to participate in initiatives that might otherwise be cost prohibitive on our own. A key feature of the MOU is the development of an annual project-specific work plans. These work plans will be created collaboratively between the county and each municipality and will outline timelines, roles, commitments, and supports for each initiative. This ensures that projects are tailored to local needs while still aligning with regional objectives. Importantly, the MOU preserves full municipal autonomy. Hanover retains the authority to decide which projects it participates in, and municipalities may opt out of specific initiatives in any given year if priorities and resources do not align. This flexibility ensures that Hanover can continue to pursue its own strategic objectives, either independently or with other partners when needed. The MOU also establishes a governance structure through a county municipal economic development working group. This group will meet quarterly, operate on a consensus basis, and oversee implementation of the MOU. It also provides a forum for shared learning, professional development, and coordinated advocacy. This structure helps ensure that collaboration is ongoing and that municipalities have a consistent voice in shaping regional economic development priorities. Overall, the MOU strengthens regional cohesion while respecting local decision-making. It provides structure where it adds value, flexibility where it's necessary, and a shared commitment to building a stronger, more investment-ready Grey County. For Hanover, it represents an opportunity to enhance our economic development capacity, reduce duplication, and position ourselves more competitively for investment and growth. There are no direct financial implications for Hanover associated with signing the MOU. Any future costs related to joint initiatives will be identified through the annual work plan process and brought forward in the normal course of our budget deliberations. This ensures that Council maintains full oversight and approval of any financial commitments and that participation is shared, projects remains aligned with Hanover's priorities and available resources. So the recommendation is that report ED 0126, Team Grey Memorandum of Understanding be received, and that Council supports the Team Grey Memorandum of Understanding as presented, that endorses cohesive regional economic development and investment readiness, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the Team Grey MOU. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, April. I'll open it up to council. Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, April, for the report. I think it's a good news story. It's nice to see that we're working together. I think it certainly gives us greater outreach to across the province when we have these joint ventures. And nice to see Savannah here supporting this, because I know the county does a lot of work and does a lot of promotion of the area. So I certainly support it and think it's nice to see reduction in duplication. That's always important, and certainly leads us to a bright future with lots of success, I think. So certainly do support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, April, for the report. I think certainly, as Deputy Mayor was saying, the partnership between Hanover and Grey County really is essential. And as was explained at the Economic Development Forum last fall, there are many opportunities that are available, but Grey County's advocacy and assistance in recruitment is really a key part there. I guess my question is, the report details potential projects that would come to light as a part of this partnership, and with the possibility of 1,600 acres of land coming into Hanover, how would we advocate or try to get on the list to be one of the 3 centers to have the large-scale industrial park?
April.
Through your worship, conversations have already began with Grey County as far as what our growth could look like and getting lands ready for investment. So I would just suggest that we continue to work closely on that collaboration and ensure that we are working towards being shovel ready, and what that means, as we have learned through the leadership forums, and then collaborating as we market that out to the broader region, country, and so on.
Councillor Cable, anything further?
No, thank you. I think the right piece is really important, and certainly in our budget this year, there is, funds set aside to help to move those services north of the Saugeen River. So I do think that's a good next step.
Thank you. Councillor Sackle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks, April, for your report. It's very detailed and certainly convincing, and I'm certainly in favor of supporting this MOU. Just a question about the other municipalities. Are they too signing an MOU, do you know? Or are there any plans for that to happen? So Team Grey is really Team Grey? Just wondering.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through your worship. Yeah, this has been delivered to all member municipalities. Savannah is here, as Deputy Mayor Dickert referenced. We are the first ones to bring this forward for signing with Hanover, but it is the intention that all member municipalities will be participating, and as referenced in the MOU, that as we develop our work plans and we each ensure that we have a representative on the working team, that then we can really start to implement the actions that we all agree upon.
Any further comments or questions? I just want to say, I think the benefits are huge, that we will have more access to resources and the knowledge and experience of all 9 municipalities. So, all right, I don't see any hands raised either in the chamber or online, so I will call the question. All in favor? And online, if you could, there we go. All we need is one to make it official, right? Okay, we got 2. Good. All right. That is carried. Thank you. All right. The next report is item 11.2. This report is DCS 0126. It is the water and wastewater asset management needs, funding constraints, and review of emerging governance and service delivery models. It's from Yelena Savick, our Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer. And I need a mover and seconder before Yelena starts highlighting the report. Councillor Sackle and Councillor Hudson. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. So report DCS 0126 is a heavy start to the year. As you can probably tell from the length of the title, it describes the town's financial position and the limits that we're facing in order to deliver the capital plan. This reflects where we are today. So the town is growing, infrastructure pressures are increasing, and how we prioritize investment today will have a significant impact on affordability moving forward. Over the next 10 years, the town faces significant infrastructure costs. Based on the asset management plan, we need approximately $73 million to support our current tax-funded assets, which are our roads and facilities. We also need an additional $115 million for water and wastewater infrastructure, for a total of almost $190 million over the next 10 years. On an annual basis, that's about $19 million a year. To put that into perspective, our full budget this year was $24 million. So that's all of our operating and capital for ourselves, and as well as our local boards. So this $190 million figure reflects only the cost of maintaining existing infrastructure. It does not include any additional projects related to supporting growth, and therefore reflects a significant increase to our annual budget. The core issue at hand is the fact that we cannot afford the capital program with the capital program recommended by the asset management plan within our existing debt capacity. So in the asset management plan, we assume that about $49 million of the $73 million of tax-funded assets will be funded through debt. This level of borrowing puts us near the provincial annual debt repayment limit that's enforced by the province for all municipalities, which is 25% of our own source revenues. This means that our full debt capacity would be used just to meet the asset management requirements of our tax-funded infrastructure. Again, this does not include water and wastewater infrastructure. Even when we fully use our debt capacity, the plan still requires property taxes to increase by more than 4% per year over the next 10 years. So under current projections for growth, the town portion of the average residential tax bill would increase from about $2,500 today to $3,300 by mid-2030. It is not recommended, on top of that, that the town fully utilize our debt capacity just to maintain our existing roads and facilities. We, as a town, have intentionally adopted an internal debt repayment limit that is more conservative than the provincial maximum of 25%. This is to enable us to preserve a degree of financial flexibility so that we can respond to emergencies, unforeseen needs, and strategic opportunities that arise, but that may not be budgeted for. However, if we reduce the amount that we borrowed to fund asset management needs, so from that $49 million, if we decide to take on less debt, leave ourselves a little bit more of space on our debt capacity portfolio, the financial pressure would shift directly to the tax base, and the annual tax increase would be higher. So that's just to say that that 4% annual tax increase assumes maximum debt is used, and that should be seen as a minimum. If we choose to take on less debt, preserve our financial liquidity, that number increases. Water and wastewater infrastructure, on the other hand, represents an even larger financial pressure. The most significant project is the wastewater treatment plant upgrade, which is currently projected at approximately $80 million. This project is critical to enable growth. The asset management plan assumes that the town would fund this project through development charges, reserves, and annual rate increases. However, we still need debt financing to fund upfront costs before development charges can be collected from the growth. So any debt issued to finance wastewater treatment plant upgrades still counts towards the town's annual debt repayment limit. This means that tax-funded projects and rate-funded projects are drawing on the same finite borrowing capacity. No debt is allocated for the wastewater management treatment plant upgrade in the asset management plan because no debt capacity remains. Recent provincial and federal grant programs have provided meaningful support for growth-enabling infrastructure, and that has been of significant assistance to the town. However, those programs still require significant municipal contributions. Even under favorable grant scenarios, the town would still need to fund 20 to 30% of project costs. For an $80 million wastewater plant treatment upgrade, even if we are able to secure grant funding for the entirety of the project, the town would still need to find at least $16 million to make that project move forward. So the primary risk here is that we cannot fund growth-enabling infrastructure, which is that wastewater treatment plant. This, in turn, slows growth and the expansion of the tax base. In the absence of that growth, and if our tax base does not expand, existing taxpayers are required to absorb the ongoing tax increases to fund both today's infrastructure needs as well as upfront costs for tomorrow's growth. Over time, this approach becomes increasingly unsustainable, and it places an inequitable burden on current residents to fund both the current infrastructure needs as well as future growth. Now, I want to stress one thing, and that is that the financial pressures that are described in this report are based on new information. They're not based on a change in our approach. They're not based in shifts in priorities. There's no change in our risk appetite with a new treasurer. It's all the same. The only difference is that we now have two new pieces of information that we are trying to loop into the rest of our financial projections. The most significant piece of information that we haven't had before is the asset management plan. So in the past, council was asked to consider capital projects without the benefit of the asset management plan. And now that we have that document, we understand much clearer the scale, timing, and cost of the town's infrastructure needs over the next decade and beyond. The second piece of new information that we are trying to incorporate into our long-term financial strategy is the proposed boundary adjustment and the associated costs of growth. Growth must now be factored into how the town uses our limited debt capacity, because new development will require upfront infrastructure investment. So together, these two new factors explain why these issues are being discussed now. Recognizing these constraints now allows council to consider future infrastructure and growth decisions in a deliberate and planned way. This report also describes one of those pieces of things that we could consider in addition to other budget factors, and that is service delivery models that are being used by other municipalities like the Township of Mapleton that address very similar capital pressures. Under this type of model, which is a municipal services corporation model for water and wastewater services, the water and wastewater assets remain fundamentally owned by the municipality, but are operated and financed through a separate corporate entity. What that means is that large rate-funded projects can be financed outside of the town's debt capacity while maintaining municipal oversight. So this model essentially allows us to open up more of our debt capacity to service other capital works instead of the water wastewater capital works. So the purpose of this report is not to ask for a decision to be made. It is just to reiterate the financial constraints that the town is facing and the risks associated with maintaining the status quo, and to request that council provide staff direction to continue to research alternative service delivery models for the water and wastewater assets, including municipal services corporations. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you for that. I'll open it up. Comments, questions? Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Yelena. It's a lot to comprehend and to try and digest, I guess. But I'm not trying to paint it with rose-colored glasses by any stretch, but it is kind of a worst-case scenario here. That's because those numbers are assuming no federal or provincial support. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so although it's not guaranteed, it would likely be somewhat unusual to not get some support in that respect. So I'm just trying to lessen the impact of what you're laying on us here tonight, but it still is a challenge, and we do need to look for alternate ways. And I think back to the Grey County hosted an event where EPCOR gave us a presentation on some of their opportunities to finance these big projects. It's a partnership, and we're at a time when I think partnerships are more important as we move forward, because it's very difficult for a community the size of ours to finance some of these significant projects. So I certainly support the direction and the recommendation that this report has, which means to continue to research it. I don't think the sky's falling today, so I think we're likely doing this at the right time by getting ahead of the challenge and finding out what other opportunities are available to us. So that's comments more than questions, but I think it is important that we look at this and that the council does support moving forward with the investigation of what other opportunities are out there. So thank you for your work on this, and we look forward to hearing more.
Online, Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Yelena, for the report. I think this ties very nicely into the overview of the asset management plan that you provided during the November budget meeting. And certainly over the past year, I think council has become much more aware of the realities that we're facing in terms of asset replacement and the costs for this. I certainly am in favor, along with Deputy Mayor Dickert, of continuing to investigate the establishment of a municipal service corporation, wastewater operations. I think that sounds like an excellent avenue to pursue, and look forward to more information on that. Your report notes that if the municipal service corporation is established, the town's annual debt repayment limit would decrease because water and wastewater would no longer be captured in that 25%. What would the new cap for town rate funded debt be?
So just to reiterate, the report did state that that 25% annual repayment limit would decrease. So the town, the way that it's calculated, how much debt we can take on and how much debt we can service on an annual basis is 25% of all of our own source revenues. Today, that includes water, wastewater rates, as well as taxes, as well as other user fees. If we were to separate out the water, wastewater, that wouldn't be included in that total number. And so it's 25% of a smaller number. So that would reduce our overall debt repayment capacity on an annual basis. The exact figure depends on a number of factors. So it depends on the point at which you introduce a municipal service corporation. What does your assessment base look like? What does growth look like? What are the taxes that are being collected? What are the user fees? So basically, what's the proportion of the total fees that are being collected that are rate-based versus tax-based? And then on top of that, how much existing debt do you have, and how much of that existing debt is tied to wastewater and water services, in which case that debt can pass on to the Municipal Services Corporation. And on top of that, it matters what grants you've received to date, because those grants are also removed from your own source revenue calculation. If those grants are for water, wastewater resources, then they can also be moved to the Municipal Services Corporation. So I did some very rough math on the numbers that we had in our 2026 budget, and our annual repayment limit would reduce by about 20% at the town. So that means that our tax capacity or our debt capacity would reduce by 20% if we were to eliminate the water, wastewater fees from the calculation of our total revenues. However, that's very rough back of a napkin math at this point. on the one hand, and on the other hand, the amount of debt that we would need to take on would also significantly reduce because 80 million of that calculation was just for water, wastewater. So it's kind of a balancing act between how much the rest of the town infrastructure needs to be funded by debt, how much of it goes towards water, wastewater assets, and then you can look at that kind of proportionate decrease in one and increase in the other.
Councillor Cable, anything further?
No, thank you, Your Worship. I think that's an excellent ballpark just to have in mind. I guess my other question was that your report talks about non-essential projects consuming a significant portion of available debt capacity, which could potentially limit the town's ability to fund critical infrastructure, and that it might be necessary to delay or reassess the timing of non-essential projects. And I was just wondering, do town staff plan to bring forward kind of a list of these projects in which they would feel are essential versus non-essential, just to kind of help to distinguish things going forward? Because I would imagine that there are certain projects either that we're considering currently or within the 5-year forecast that perhaps would be considered non-essential.
Sorry, I'm just looking. And Councillor Cable, I'm respectful that you may not have received some clarifications or had time to review them based on information sent to all council members earlier today, as there was a number of clarifications with respect to this report, and I did share that accordingly with all council members just after lunch today. So again, I respect that you may not have had time to review that. Specifically with respect to that non-essential, sorry, I just got to get it. And Yelena was crucial to these answers as an FYI, but sorry, I just have to find it. Here we go. Again, anything that's outside of those core service needs and the maintenance of our existing infrastructure at the levels of service we've committed to is what we are defining within this report as non-essential. So that's really what that definition is used for this report accordingly. So would a list come forward? Not at this time, but we can share more specific information as our investigation goes forward. Like, are you thinking like our capital list would be identified as essential or non-essential, or help us understand to your question?
Well, I guess I would envision that going forward, projects that would be non-essential would have a significant warning attached to them, right, about the debt financing associated with those, just in terms of being mindful of our debt capacity.
Yeah, and again, anything outside those core service needs or that's within our current maintenance of our existing, so within our asset management plan, and perhaps Yelena has some more details that she'd like to share accordingly, if there's anything else you want to add.
I think writing this report, that was kind of the broad approach to the definition of what is essential and what's non-essential, but ultimately it's up to the discretion of council to decide what is essential and what's not essential. What we can provide as staff is a list of what projects are funded in the asset management plan, that $49 million, where that debt is being allocated currently. And then council can review that list and say, this makes sense or this doesn't, and staff can respond accordingly with the risks that it offsets or doesn't when we choose to issue debt for certain projects at certain times. That was very wordy, sorry. But I think you know what I'm trying to say. There's a list in the asset management plan. The 49 million is going somewhere, and we can tell you where.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, perhaps breaking down that 49 million, right? Because we throw that number out, but it is hard at this point without any specifics just to know what all is that encompassing.
Okay, and in saying that, I would, every time we have a new project come forward, that will be a consideration. That will be discussion, and in the end, it is council's decision whether we move forward or not with that project. So this will always be in the back of our mind and probably be presented in all reports when we're taking on new projects. Councillor Hocking.
Thank you, Your Worship. Happy New Year to everyone. I found this report to be timely, sobering, and very, very informative. So congratulations, Yelena, for the detailed report. I just want to echo Deputy Mayor Dickard, who said, we now have information to move forward. And this is characteristic of what Hanover does. It takes on a challenge and moves forward. And I'm so excited to hear about the alternatives in service delivery. I think it's a good news story in the end. We are going to get future grants, but in the whole scheme of things, it takes us to look at just exactly how we're going to manage our asset management file. The fact that we've just in the process of gaining 1,600 acres will impact our delivery of services to that area. So I'm excited to hear more about it. I'm in favor of the report, and I thank staff for bringing this to our attention at this moment. It was a bit alarming to see the numbers, but it's reality, and it's something that we have to address in a planned and deliberate approach. So thanks again, staff, for the excellent report.
Thank you, Councillor Hawking. Anyone further? Okay, Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yelena, you mentioned that it would be operated by the Municipal Services Corporation. So would that have an effect on our staff that we have currently working there?
So I think this is a question probably for 6 reports down the road. The only example that I've got is the Mapleton example, which is where the staff still work for the township and the township contracts their services to the utility company. But it depends on staff union relations. It depends on strong mayor environment, which Mapleton doesn't have. So I'm not even sure that this is how viable this framework is in the context of Hanover specifically, for a variety of reasons, that being one of them.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised, so I will call the question. All in favor? And online, if someone is voting. Thank you, Councillor. Wow, we got 3 online. Very good. Thank you. All right, that is carried. Item 11.3, this is report PW 0226. The subject is the off-road vehicle bylaw. It's from Jamie McCarthy, Manager of Public Works, and I need a mover and seconder to put this on the floor. And I have Deputy Mayor Dickard, and online I have Councillor Hawking. Jamie, all yours.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson and other members of council. So the report, Public Works 0226, the off-road vehicle bylaw, is a bylaw that's attached herein. It will indicate which of the town-owned roadways will permit travel with an off-road vehicle. The roads mentioned were seen to have connections. I did write trails, but I should have wrote to township roads that are allowed to have ORVs and county highways. By permitting travel on these roads, ORV drivers gain access to equipment, service, fuel, and restaurants while still maintaining safety for other areas of town. Staff from the Hanover Police Services, Bylaw, and Public Works Departments collectively reviewed and vetted the proposed bylaw. This bylaw can be changed and updated as needed when new legislation is implemented or if growth triggers any changes needed. This bylaw does not consider motorized snow vehicles, also known as snowmobiles. Those are under Town Bylaw 2416-03 and as well regulated by the Motorized Snow Vehicles Act. The adoption of the ORV bylaw will permit specified ORVs on certain roadways and allow for clear rules for the users. The Hanover roads permitted for use by ORVs are in the table within the report and the map attached. There will be minimal impacts to the operating budget of the Public Works Department for additional maintenance to town highways and for signage. That's my overcap of the report. If anyone has any questions or comments, I'm willing to answer them.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Worship. Just looking at the map that provides overview of where the ORVs are allowed. I guess I'm just not understanding how somebody gets from their home to that road. Is it assumed that if you're traveling from your house to a designated road that is still allowed? Like otherwise, I just don't know how a lot of Hanover residents access the current agreement.
Through Mayor Patterson. So this bylaw is for ORV users coming into Hanover. So if you're within the town boundary and want to get to one of the allowable roadways, you would have to either take your ATV or your other all-terrain vehicle and trailer it or take it on a truck.
Councillor Cable.
Okay, that's maybe not how I interpreted the intent of the bylaw to start with. Is this because there's trails in West Gray that our residents access? Like, I guess I'm not understanding what's the purpose of putting this in if a resident can't just leave their driveway and get to the designated roads.
So Councillor Cable noted, again, as Jamie mentioned, the intent of this is to provide access to our community by ORV users who may need access to fuel or service or food accordingly. And so the two areas that are noted for permissible use of ORVs provides as a beginning point access to those items. This is the intent was not to provide residents with that ease of I can hop on my ORV and get from my house where I live to an approved road accordingly within West Gray or other neighboring municipalities accordingly. It's more to get them in for access to those items.
Councillor Cable, anything further?
I guess if I can just have one follow-up, Your Worship. I believe somewhere in the report it talked about there was a new provincial regulation that came into place which would allow ORVs to operate on roadways even if municipalities had not passed a bylaw. And so does that cover an ORV that's going up 14th Street or that is driving on a municipal road?
Through Mayor Patterson, the act, I believe that you're the Getting Ontario Moving Act, this bylaw would be able to, would only allow ORV users to use the designated roadways. It would still not allow somebody that lives on 2nd Street to get to 24th Avenue. Does that answer your question?
Yes, so that is the provincial legislation. So if we don't pass this, or up until today, it would be fine for somebody to drive an ORV on the streets?
Through Mayor Patterson, as my understanding, no, the the Hanover Police Department and bylaw have all indicated that ORV vehicles are not allowed within the boundary limits of the town of Hanover.
Okay, and my only other question was around whether any provision around noise should be considered in the bylaw, perhaps restricting vehicles with altered exhaust systems.
Through Mayor Patterson, I can look into that and gain some more information. I don't believe that I really looked into that, so good question.
Go ahead, Sherry.
I was just going to say that's something that staff can look into, and if it's needed, a future bylaw update accordingly could occur. I would say the other thing that we have is through our existing noise bylaw, that if there were parameters within it that are appropriate, that would apply to those situations.
If I could jump in for a moment.
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah. So regarding the noise component, that would actually not fall really under this bylaw. That would be something that the police would likely be dealing with under the Highway Traffic Act. And just backtracking a little bit, the whole intent of this bylaw is to keep ORVs and ATVs off the municipal streets. So we don't want them ripping up and down, residential streets. It's and prior to that, unless a municipality had a bylaw enacted, they were not permitted to be on any street. So therefore, we had multiple requests. We moved ahead with this, and this gives us a mechanism where we can actually have a little bit of control and perhaps do some enforcement if required.
Okay, and thanks for that, Ken. And I just want to say that it's Mr. Bailey, is that correct? He is in attendance here in the audience from the ATV Club. So if you have any specific questions that you would like answered, he would be willing to do that. Oh, Councillor Cable.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I guess I'd be interested to know from the perspective of somebody that owns an ORV, whether you feel that the limitations on the streets currently in the proposed bylaw are sufficient for your purposes.
So, Mr. Bailey, if you would come up to the podium, because we have people online, they cannot hear you unless you use the microphone.
Speak. You just
Currently, there's no 8 ORVs allowed in town, and our intentions are to bring a trail from the Desborough area down what we would call Mary Rutherford's, the no winter maintenance road, and so we can allow to bypass town and join up with West Grays Trails, which are on the southeast corner of town. Also, as you can see on the map here, which brings us around by Knappville and coming into 10, which would allow us to access Hanover Honda Power Sports. You've got fuel station at Canadian Tire, Stacked Restaurant, access to that parking lot, which would access you to McDonald's, Burger King, A&W, so on. Yes, your bylaws for noise. When you buy a permit, there is stipulations on allowable exhaust notes so that we don't have loud exhaust systems ripping down trails, disturbing neighbors on all of our trails. I have spoke to several officers and pointed out that if they do pull a machine over and they do see on the front left corner one of our silver trail passes, they will already know that they have plates and insurance, because you can't have that sticker without plates and insurance. Currently, we have between 700 and 800 members just in the Dufferin Gray ATV, which if you go on Quad On app, you'll see where our trails are. I actually have a map here that I can show you that are all closed right now currently. They do not run in the wintertime. I believe it's, forgive me, I think it's April 1st to November 30th or the first significant snowfall for snowplows. And other than that, we're not allowed on the trails.
So Councillor Cable, can you repeat your question again? I've already, sorry.
Yes, I think you did answer it. I think I was just wondering that based on the map here, that you feel that the number of roads identified in red are sufficient for your club's needs in Hanover.
Yes. And it's just kind of a foot in the door for us for now. And like, yeah, we're just kind of skirting the edges of town. If the, just south of the drive-in theater is where West Gray's Trail meets up with, I believe it's 18. And catches up again on the west side of Hanover, south of the hospital. Right? And then that allows them to join up to our trails. And we have been talking with West Gray and regarding signage as well. We have talked with West Gray on proposing cost sharing on what signs you would get, what you would like to see on your streets. Like you're going to have some no four-wheeler access, probably speed limits, because it's generally half of posted speeds. And we do have arrows designating direction. So probably talk with Jamie. That's Jamie. Okay, Jamie, nice to meet you. Whether there's a possibility of three-way sharing the cost of signs. We do have a budget for signage in the OFA TV and the Dufferin Gray. What else would you like to hear?
That is great. Thank you very much. Your context, I really find very valuable in this whole discussion. So,
okay,
thank you.
I figured it would probably be a help to be here.
Thanks, Mara.
So what to me, what we're doing with this bylaw is permitting ORVs to access fuel, service, and food. It doesn't affect people, residents within town that have ATVs. They still need to trailer to wherever they're going. So, but if your ATV broke down on the outside of Hanover, you'd be pretty close to getting in here to be serviced. So, Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick question, and maybe it's just the way the map is here. It doesn't show it going south of 10th Street on Gray Road 28. Is that an omission, or?
I would say that's not in Hanover.
Well, I mean, even the little section that is, though, isn't red on my map. Maybe it's just the way the map is. I don't know.
Yes.
No, when I'm looking at my map, it's Gray Road 28, and the word road might be just over top of what would be red.
Yeah.
Well, not even above where you're showing there. Yeah, that, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I don't like. So I was pointing to the map that is on our screens, that the map is also included in the bylaw, I believe is the last page of Schedule A. And to Deputy Mayor Dickert's point is that just south of on County Road 28, currently the red is not included. I don't know, Jamie, if you can share. I think at this point it was more around getting access from the the north into town at that point in time. Right? And then southerly, they would have to go concession 2 SDR, which is a West Gray Road, onto Natville Road, onto County Road 10 to our roads into the industrial park. So you're right, it does not provide somebody in the south going up to 10th Street at this point in time.
The presenter here just mentioned the trail by the drive-in, and that's why I asked that question, because that would not give you access to that piece without that.
Sorry, that is a county road past that point. On mine, I have it scheduled here that goes past the red mark that you have on my copy here. It does go past there. It does go to the edge of the gray.
Jamie?
Through Mayor Patterson, it was a mistake. So we'll just get that added in.
Okay. Well, they could always park and walk over. So, okay, any other comments or questions? I don't see any online, and I don't see any in the council chambers. So I will call the question. All in favor of PW 02 2026, or sorry, 26. And online, it's good. So thank you. That is carried. And thank you, Mr. Bailey, for attending. Okay, item 11.4, this is report PW 0126. The subject is the significant weather event policy, and it's from Jamie McCarthy, our manager of public works. And I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor, Councillor Sackle and Councillor Fleet. Jamie?
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. So the report PW 005 Significant Weather Event Policy is being presented to you today. So on May 3rd of 2018, Ontario Regulation 366-18 came into effect, amending Ontario Regulation 239-02, which is the minimum maintenance standards. This change provided municipalities with a mechanism to declare a significant weather event, which means that an approaching or an active weather hazard is occurring that could lead to danger to users of the road network within a municipality. The purpose of declaring a significant weather event for the town's roads, sidewalks, and/or bicycle lanes is to advise the public of the potential dangers associated with the weather hazard, and to deem those town travel methods in a state of repair with respect to snow accumulation and ice conditions for the duration of the declaration. A standardized policy has been drafted to provide council, residents, and the traveling public that the use of the road network in the town has a significant weather declaration will be enacted. Oh, I'm sorry. How the town will enact that significant weather event. I'm sorry, I could not read my own writing for a second. The declaration of a significant weather event is not notice of a reduced service level or road closure. The declaration is to notify the public that due to current or forecasted conditions, caution is to be observed when traveling along the town's road network, and that it may take longer than usual to bring conditions of the roads, sidewalks back to a state of repair. The Public Works Department for the town of Hanover does an excellent job through the winter, and they do maintain the roads at a higher standard than what is the minimum maintenance standard. So this would be just a way to communicate and provide better messaging to our residents to say that we're out there cleaning. It just might take a little bit longer to get everything cleared up. And I'm able to take any questions or comments.
Thank you. Discussion? Questions? Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Jamie, for the report. I think making the declaration is important. I think it's good for us to get the messaging out there. I know that even last Monday was a little tricky because the snow was coming in, and it does take a while to get cleared when there's a significant snowfall in a short amount of time. I am wondering if we could consider an amendment to the policy. This is on page 2, and it says it's still section 4 coming down, right above the bold 5.0 record retention. It says the declaration of the beginning and the end of a significant weather event shall be made public through one or more of the following. And I'm wondering if we can remove that and just say that it will be made through the following, and we make sure that in the event that we actually are declaring a significant weather event, it is being posted on the website, Facebook, and the news alert. I just think it's clear if we just say we're going to put it out on all three, as opposed to leaving it open to interpretation.
Sherry?
I just want to share that sometimes those happen on weekends and we don't always have staff available who may be able to do all of those. So while we will aim to do that, it may not always be possible.
I guess I would just like to propose the amendment and see whether there is support. I do think that we know that it maybe happen on a weekend, but I think it must be a significant event if we are posting this, and hopefully we could come up with a plan to share that information as widely as possible. I just know that some residents are not on Facebook. Even all these are coming through electronically, which is tricky in itself. But I just would hate for somebody to be out in an accessible scooter, for example, and not have known that a significant weather event had been declared.
Other comments? I know not everyone at home has access to posting on the website, correct? Sherry?
Yeah, like any of those methods, you need access to a computer, as Councillor Cable pointed out. They're all electronic means. I would hope that we live in a caring community, that if I'm worried about somebody with an accessible scooter, that my family member or somebody or a neighbor is saying, the town verbally sharing that information. I would hope that that happens. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm not sure that we can make sure everybody has a means to receive this information in the method they deem to be most convenient to them.
Like, my thoughts are, if we say we're going to put it on the website and we can't put it on the website, then what? We just don't do it? We don't follow policy. Go ahead, Vicky.
By doing that, I'm wondering as well, does that open us up to additional liability if we're stating it's going to be posted on all of these venues and we're unable to do so?
Councillor Cable?
Could it say that we will endeavor to post on the following methods? I guess I just don't want to see that we just put it on Facebook and say that that's good enough.
Sure, we can do that. I know when I say social media, I think of all of them, but you know, not everybody does, but so yes, we'll need a motion to amend. Moved by Councillor Cable to include the word endeavor.
Where are we including that? Yeah, help me. I'm unclear where you were adding that word. The declaration of the beginning and the end of a significant weather shall be made.
Like maybe the town will endeavor to declare the beginning and end of a significant weather event through the following methods.
Fine. I echo Clerk Vicky's notes about opening ourselves up to liability. I think we're into semantics and words, and we just need to be careful of that.
Jamie?
Through Mayor Patterson, the policy and procedure was built on through using the Act, and in the Act, I'm pretty sure it indicates to place on two of these, the websites, your social media pages, specifically mentioning that within the minimum maintenance standards. So that's where that came from in the policy. I can find it for you to send it to you.
No, I think that's helpful context. I certainly think that the subscribe option that we have set up this year, I think that's phenomenal for residents. And I would assume that most residents in the town of Hanover would have an email address. And so at least by sending it out through that method, it gets directly to people's inboxes and they would be able to see that. My worry is that sometimes I feel like we rely heavily on Facebook, and that to me, it hits a certain target of the population, but it's not hitting everybody.
April?
I'm sorry, I was just thinking out loud, I'm just thinking about notifying the media, right? We're hoping that they're subscribing to our newsletters and following us on social media as well, so that they can help get the word out verbally, to anyone that is not. But again, we can't mandate this news be, broadcasted, but I think through our regular practice, we're hitting those minimums. And I'm just thinking about, as I'm thinking about communications and as we progress in enhancing our communications, I think there's going to be new opportunities, and there might be some existing that we might see aren't that beneficial. So I too just worry about that exact wording, because those things might change, but I think you could rest assured that we will find every avenue we can to get the word out.
Any other comments? Councillor Sacco.
I just want to say I'm happy with the way it is. One or more of the following, I think, pleases me. It gives us opportunities and chances. If they're subscribing to the newsletter, like April says, they should be seeing it, or at least somebody they know should be seeing it to let them know. So I feel comfortable with the way it is.
Okay. So, Councillor Hocking?
I'm in the same camp as Councillor Sacco.
Thank you. So Councillor Cable, you have moved this. I need a seconder for Councillor Cable's intention to include the word endeavor to post on one or more of the following, or to endeavor to post on all three of them. Seconded by Councillor Hudson. Any further discussion on this? Okay, so this is the amendment only that we are voting on. All in favor of the amendment? 1, 2. And online, I do not see any hands raised. So that amendment is defeated. So now we're back to the main motion, which is to receive the significant weather event policy, which is PW 0126. Has been moved by Councillor Sacco, seconded by Councillor Fleet. All in favor? 1, 2, 3 online, 4 online, and I can add mine, which is 5. That motion carries. Thank you. Good discussion. 11.5 is report HR 0126. It is the annual health and safety policy statement and work plan. It is from Melissa Hilgendorf, our human resources manager, and I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. And I'll take Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Cable. Melissa?
Thank you, Your Worship. So Council sees me come here every year to bring this report forward, as well as my next report. Because under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, the town is required to prepare a written occupational health and safety policy annually, and then to develop a program to implement that policy. The Joint Health and Safety Committee has reviewed our annual policy statement and work plan. Minor housekeeping amendments are proposed to JHS 002 Health and Safety Policy Statement to amend the scope and also update dates. The removal of the library from the scope, the intent is to recognize that the library is its own legal entity, and it is responsible, therefore, for its own health and safety program. However, support from the town and the town's Joint Health and Safety Committee remains available to the library in accordance with the memorandum of understanding that's in place between both parties. And the library is also able to adopt any town health and safety policies and procedures, such as this annual statement, as they feel applicable. JHS 012 Health and Safety Work Plan includes housekeeping amendments and updated objectives that would guide the work of the Health and Safety Committee throughout 2026, with a key initiative Initiatives being to maintain the existing programs that have been put in place and further that implementation of the hearing conservation program that was worked on and finalized in late 2025. All proposed revisions are noted through strike-through and red text within the enclosed documents. Any costs associated with the health and safety work plan for 2026 objectives have already been included within the approved 2026 budget. The link to the strategic plan is safe and reliable infrastructure and open and responsible government. The recommendation is that report HR 0126 annual health and safety policy statement and work plan be received, and that council approve the 2026 health and safety policy statement and 2026 health and safety work plan for implementation in the town's policy manual. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Melissa. Any questions or comments? Don't see any, Melissa. That's very good. Okay, all in favor of report HR 0126? That is carried. Thank you. Item 11.6, this is report HR 0226. The subject is the annual workplace violence and harassment policy statement, and it's from Melissa Hilgendorf, our human resources manager. And I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. Councillor Hudson, just checking online if anyone wants to second it. If not, I'll take I have Councillor Hocking. Thank you. Okay, Melissa.
Right, thank you again. So very same under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Every year, the town is required to review a written workplace violence and harassment policy, and then also have a program in place to implement the policy. The Health and Safety Committee is proposing minor amendments to HR 004 Workplace Violence and Harassment Policy Statement for 2026, with the key change being to add reference to the Ontario Human Rights Code in addition to other pieces of legislation. The report also includes supplementary documents that accompany the policy statement, which forms a comprehensive workplace violence and harassment program, with all revisions noted in red text and strike-through within the attachments. Similar to the health and safety policy statement that we just chatted about, the scope is being updated to recognize the independent status of the library, with support still being provided by the town in accordance with the memorandum of understanding that's in place between the town and the library. There are no financial implications associated with this report. The link to strategic plan is open and responsible government. The recommendation is that report HR 0226 annual workplace violence and harassment policy statement be received, and that council approve the 2026 workplace violence and harassment policy statement for implementation in the town's policy manual.
Thank you, Melissa. Any comments or questions for Melissa? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. That is carried. All right, 11.7, this is report CAO 0326. The subject is the Saugeen Municipal Airport Cost Sharing Agreement. It's from Sherry Walden, our CAO. And I'll ask Councillor Hocking, did you want to move that? Thank you. And Deputy Mayor Dickert, thank you. Just checking online. Sherry?
Thank you, Your Worship. Council, as you recall, there were various conversations with respect to the Saugeen Municipal Airport throughout the last 18 months, of which Saugeen Municipal Airport is a joint asset of Brockton, Hanover, and West Grey. And through that joint partnership, we support the ongoing operation and capital investment in the Saugeen Municipal Airport with the oversight of the SMA Commission, who provides that operational guidance and direction for the airport. In 2024, the Commission and through the municipalities adopted their new corporate bylaw and the procedure bylaw. And then the remaining area of priority was a review of the 2005, so 21-year-old cost sharing agreement. And that occurred through late 2025. So Mayor Patterson, Councillor Hocking, as well as myself, met with the same representatives from the other partner municipalities accordingly to establish a new cost-sharing agreement. Our clerk and manager of legislative services, Vicky, took notes accordingly, and Brockton staff, their director of legislative services, provided assistance with revising the cost-sharing agreement. As noted, the discussions occurred throughout fall 2025, and there was that collective commitment by all parties to ensure that the cost-sharing agreement was grounded in the principles of fairness, administrative simplicity, and the need for a timely resolution. Through that good discussion, we've come to consensus on the attached cost-sharing agreement, with the highlights of that new revised agreement being the following. It acknowledges that the Sauget Municipal Airport provides a broader regional economic and social benefit that extends beyond the ownership of the individual hangars. It's a goal of SMA to become financially self-sustaining, such that the municipalities would no longer directly subsidize the operations and capital investment, that the annual operating of SMA shall not increase by any amount greater than 3% from the previous year's budgeted amount, unless there's extraordinary circumstances that shall be presented to the municipalities in advance of budget approval, that each municipal member would contribute 1/3 of the approved operating expenses, with that cost-sharing component to come effective as of January 1st, 2027. And that there would be an establishment of a 5-year capital plan that outlines strategic direction and associated capital expenses. It acknowledges the revenues received by the municipalities relating to utility servicing, tax revenues, bookkeeping, etc., to establish a joint understanding, and that it's consideration of admitting new members, withdrawal of members, and the sale of the asset, as well as recognition that there may be future agreements required related to economic development plans and/or development potential. The commission, with their new corporate bylaw and procedure bylaw, ensures that the governance structure and transparency and accountability are looked after, and with a revised clear cost-sharing agreement, it will ensure that SMA is positioned to look to the future of this joint asset. It was a positive experience working with Brockton and Musgrave to establish this new cost-sharing agreement. That is the benefit for all of us. So the new agreement provides that clarity on a cost-sharing. The 2026 budget remains status quo at $55,000. The number used there is from the projected budget package, mayoral budget that was included at the end of November. There'll be no increase for 2026 for Hanover, but in 2027 there would be a slight increase, and there is a typo in this report. I apologize. So Hanover's annual contribution would be 33.33% versus 31%, and that amount would be $59,140. I'm not sure. I think when I was doing this report before Christmas, I thought the report was done and forgot that I needed to revisit that number. So I apologize for that. So that number would be $59,140, which that increase to us will be about $4,140 if we are using 2026 numbers. So the report before you and the recommendation is that report CAO-03-26 Sauget Municipal Airport Cost Sharing Agreement be received, and that council approved bylaw number 337. Is there a change there too in number? Okay, perfect. 337-26, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the Sauget Municipal Airport Cost Sharing Agreement. I'd be happy to answer any questions and may enlist the support of Mayor Sue and Councillor Hocking, as well as Vicky, to see if they can share some insight as well if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions, discussion? Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question that back in our organizational review, it was discussed about the town backing away from doing the administration. Was that part of this discussion, or is that something that will perhaps happen in the future?
So no, that was not specifically part of the discussion other than outlining, as was noted. And I believe, I forget which clause it is off the top of my head, but it acknowledges the various supports that may occur. And it says may as opposed to shall. So that gives us that ability to say we're no longer interested in doing that, and they would need to seek that service somewhere else.
Other comments, questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Just give me a second. Thank you. That's carried. Item 12, committees of council minutes. We're on page 163 of the package. There's 2 sets of minutes, so I need a motion to highlight those 2 sets of minutes before we approve them. So I need a mover and seconder. I have Councillor Fleet and Councillor Cable. The first set of minutes, 12.1, this is the Age Friendly Advisory Committee minutes, and Deputy Mayor Dickert is going to highlight those.
Thank you, Your Worship. The November 17th meeting, most of that meeting was about the upcoming Seniors Community Expo. This will take place Tuesday, March 24th at the Hanover Raceway Banquet Hall, which is sure to be an added attraction as people are anxious to see what that new facility looks like. The speakers have been confirmed, Linda Crawford and Jenna Wickens, and these will be in-person presentations. The committee has tried virtual in the past, but feel the target audience here prefers the in-person touch, so they've gone that route. We reviewed the proposed agenda and vendor list and offered some suggestions on changes for that. And in the roundtable portion of the meeting, we touched on slip and fall prevention programs, wayfinding signs at the Hanover District Hospital, the Alzheimer's Society soups on and silent auction coming up on January 24th at the Harry Lumley Bayshore and Owen Sound, and that the Seniors Active Living Center grant will be applied for once again in this year. So hopefully that will result in good programs for our seniors to enjoy again.
Thank you. If there's any questions, just let me know. We'll move on to 12.2. This is the Hanover Police Station update from Plus VG Architects. And Sherry, you will highlight those.
Sure, I can. Sorry. Feel like I'm being put on the spot here, but I expected maybe Councillor Hawking or Councillor Hudson would be doing so. So maybe we should.
Let me ask,
double check
Councillor
that first.
Hawking, did you want to highlight, or Councillor Hudson, did you want to highlight? I'm not getting any response here from, oh, wait. I think Councillor Hawking, did you?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment that a lot of this has been addressed because it was prior to the presentation of the architects at our last meeting, but I can go through, the steps if you want me to. I guess we should do that for the purpose of informing the community. So I will begin. Does Councillor Hudson want to do it since she's present there?
Councillor Hudson?
Dave, I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
So as Dave mentioned, a lot of this is regurgitated information because we did have the delegation here at the last meeting. So highlights of this meeting were basically talking about the design with 15,000 square feet, cost still estimated at roughly $600 per square foot on that. The size has gone up a little bit from the original 12,000 square feet estimate to 15,000. And we were shown a lot of exterior and interior designs, ongoing, several questions about different things that perhaps could be added with a separate cost, including basement, electrical room, that sort of thing. Pardon me. The current size that has been reflected is the operational requirements that the police services feel that they are needing. And it is the minimum viable area that they believe that they need. Pardon my voice. Maybe I should let you do it, Dave. There will be a Class C estimate coming shortly. We do have meetings every couple of weeks, so that'll probably be within the next few weeks that we have those. But other than that, I think the Plus VG architects pretty much outlined everything at the time.
Very good, thank you. So that was the last set of minutes. We had two sets of minutes there. So the motion is moved by Councillor Fleet, seconded by Councillor Cable, and it is to receive the information and approve the recommendations contained in the minutes that were just highlighted. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. That is carried. Thank you. So now I'm going to move for the correspondence requiring action, move it ahead of the bylaws. This is item 14.1 and it's on page 184 of the package. This is correspondence from the chair of the Board of Directors of the Saugeen Mobility and Regional Transit, otherwise known as SMART. It's from Kim Hutchison. She is the chair, and SMART is requesting that we formally appoint the County of Bruce, Ontario, as the host municipality for SMART, enabling it to apply for, receive, hold, and administer allocations from the province of Ontario's Public Transportation Fund. And this is on behalf of all participating municipalities in Grey and Bruce counties. So after 20 years, I believe it was it 20? Hanover has been doing that for SMART, and now it's going to move to Bruce County if this is approved. So I need a mover and seconder for that. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Hudson. Any discussion? Questions? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. I'm waiting for the little yellow hand that I see. So that puts us on to the bylaws, and that's item 13. And the first bylaw starts on page 169 of the package. We have 4 bylaws, and I will ask the clerk for the intent of the bylaws.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Through you, bylaw 3370-26 is a bylaw to authorize entry into a cost-sharing agreement with the municipality of Brockton and the municipality of West Grey with respect to a cost-sharing agreement for the Saugeen Municipal Airport. Bylaw 3371-26 is a bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for the year 2026 for the town of Hanover. Bylaw 3372-26 is a bylaw to authorize the County of Bruce to collect the dedicated gas tax funds allocated from the Ministry of Transportation. And bylaw 3373-26 is a bylaw to regulate and permit the operation of off-road vehicles on designated highways under the jurisdiction of the town of Hanover.
Thank you. I need a mover and seconder for that before we, Councillor Cable and Councillor Sacco. So it's been moved by Councillor Cable and seconded by Councillor Sacco that bylaw numbers 3370-26 through to 3373-26 be introduced and that they be taken as read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed at the seal of the corporation, and inserted in the bylaw book. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item 15, I'll ask if there's any notices of motion. Seeing none. Item 16, good news and celebrations. And we'll start with Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess going along with what Deputy Mayor Dickert was saying earlier, the Hanover Bentinck and Brant Agricultural Society is very close to officially opening the new banquet facility in the former casino location. The hall will be known as the Carriage House Event Center. And having had the opportunity to go for a tour over the weekend, I must say that it is a very impressive facility with a large space that can be divided into 3 smaller rooms with sound dampening panels between, massive industrial kitchen, state-of-the-art audiovisual systems, and a modern design that really will be a true asset to our entire community. So I really do applaud the Hanover Bentinck and Brant Agricultural Society for all their work on this project. It's been a long time coming and is a big investment for them, which hopefully will reap great rewards for the town of Hanover and the surrounding area.
Thank you. Councillor Sackle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would simply like Hanover residents to know that Hanover has been officially recognized by the Ontario government as an age-friendly community. And I know Mayor Patterson is planning to attend a ceremony later this month to accept a certificate. And I wish to extend congratulations to Brandon Dobson and the age-friendly community for all of their hard work to make this happen. And secondly, I'd like to wish the town of Hanover a happy new year, and may 2026 be a year of good health and happiness. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Fleet.
Hello, thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship.
Yes, Councillor Fleet.
I just a comment. I am so I think we take things for granted in our lives, and I think this Hanover Hospital facility is something we take for granted. It's one of the top-notch hospitals and facilities in our area. Nothing but the best health care, the best nurses, doctors, and well-equipped. So I just want to shout out to the Hanover District Hospital.
Thank you for that. Anyone else with good news and celebrations? All right, so we'll move on to important dates and announcements. Oh, no, wait, upcoming committee meetings. So there is one change that I can see, and that is 17.2, the Economic Tourism and Cultural Development Committee meeting. It is on January 21st, not on the 14th, and it starts at 8:30 in the morning rather than 9. And if there's any other changes, you can let me know. Seeing none, we'll go on to important dates and announcements. Where am I here? So hang on. So we have our next regular council meeting on Monday, February 2nd at 4 p.m. And a reminder, Family Day, Monday, February 16th, the municipal office will be closed. And with that, we do have a closed meeting. And again, just give me a second here. I need a mover and seconder because it's been recommended that the council of the town of Hanover meet in closed session in order to address a matter pertaining to third-party information supplied in confidence to the municipality, which, if disclosed, could significantly prejudice a competitive position or interfere with negotiations regarding Westerio Power Incorporated and a matter pertaining to labor relations or employee negotiations regarding collective agreement bargaining. I need a mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Cable. All in favor? That is carried. So we'll just a couple of minutes. Did you want to take a 10-minute break? No? No. Okay, we'll just wait till they switch over.